Recently, I had the honor and privilege of interviewing Anthony Caucci. Anthony was a Mafia Associate and drug kingpin in Florida. He has a tremendous story which he put in print right here in this book. It's called Mafia Made. This story starts from when he's 5 years old all the way up until he was arrested in Japan. He was on the lam for 5 years in 5 different countries. It's a tremendous story. If you're interested in true crime and mafia history and the underworld, this is an excellent read. You can get this book at Amazon. You can get this book at Barnes & Noble. I will leave a link in the description in our interview of where you can get this book. Buy it. Excellent read. Difficult to put down. And now here's my interview with Anthony Caucci. All right, cool. We've been talking for months, but I finally got you. Former Mafia Associate and author of this book, Mafia Made, Anthony Caucci. How you doing?
Caucci.
Oh, sorry, Caucci.
That's all right. Close enough.
All right. I'm sure you get that all the time. I'm not a big reader, but I read this book within a few days. That's how good it was.
It's hard to put down, isn't it?
It really is, because you don't have a normal. Your upbringing is a normal, like your childhood is a normal mafia upbringing. You were kind of born into it, but then the parts where you were on the run is just obscene. It was
it's nuts.
Yeah, really.
You wouldn't believe most of it until you start seeing the pictures inside the book. You know,
yeah, that's right.
That shit in Taiwan in the newspaper and the beer bottle. I mean, you shake your head, and I said, that's the only copy I got left. 1 bottle and 1 newspaper article.
That's right. That's right. You were like
the last one I got. It's like, holy shit! Otherwise, I would never wrote that story. You'd say, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. How many countries? What countries were you on a run in?
Let's see. I started in Mexico, and then from Mexico I went to Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong I went into China just for a few days. I went back and forth to Macau. Then I went to Taiwan, and then from Taiwan I had to leave quite a few times because you only get 60 days on your visa. They stamp you got to leave in 60 days.
Wow.
So from Taiwan I went to Thailand, and then the Philippines, and I think that was it. And then I finally went to Japan after leaving Taiwan. You saw the fucking carbuncle that was, it was a disaster.
And they finally got.
And that's where they nabbed me in Japan. Yeah.
Wow. And how long were you on the run for?
Almost 5 years, really close to 5 years. It was that. I mean, had I been on the run for another few months, I probably would have did about 6 months in jail, because they changed they changed the laws. It was called the Apprende. Apprende went to the Supreme Court, and because the indictments were all written the same way. So, for example, your indictment said a detectable amount of cocaine. That's what you're indicted for. What the fuck's a detectable amount of cocaine? That could be a pinhead.
Right.
So if your indictment was read like that, they had to actually sentence you to a detectable amount of cocaine, which is all the way at the very bottom of the damn sentencing guidelines. It's the very bottom. It's nothing. It's a pinhead.
Right.
You get 6 months, maybe. But they nabbed me right before within 5 years, so the statute of limitations didn't run out, and they were able to change my indictment from a detectable amount of cocaine to the actual quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so. Otherwise,
So what was? I'm sorry. Say it again.
There was a 50 kilo conspiracy. So I pled guilty to the 7 kilos of actual delivery.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's what they got me for. So the guideline range was 15. It goes 5 to 15 kilos. That's your sentencing range, and it goes 16 to 50, and then after 50 to 100, you're fucked.
Wow. So all that crap that the mafia doesn't get involved, the Italian mafia doesn't get involved with drugs, is total bullshit.
Bullshit. They get involved with anything that makes money, except for, when it comes to kiddie porn or any human trafficking. No, they don't do that shit. Leave that to the Albanians and shit like that. Yeah, that's right. All right. So what's interesting is you were kind of born into your life. Your father was a knockaround guy. He was always earning. He was always a hustler and always earning according to the book. And he taught you from a young age how to earn, right? Kind of how to hustle, how to earn. But he never wanted you to be a made member of a crew. Right.
Why is that?
Well, he didn't like the fucking earning money and giving it to someone else. I mean, who would?
Right.
You know, who would? I mean, when he was in New York, him and his father, well, my grandfather used to run moonshine when he was little, but he came over here when he was 9 on the boat. But him and his father opened up they started bookmaking on their own. They said, fuck it, you know, but they were in someone, you can't do that in New York.
Yeah.
So they got warned. Listen, you got to either pay up or fucking get the fuck out of here. And they're like, fuck, we ain't paying anybody. So they said, go to Florida. So they go to Florida.
Oh, and that's how you
now they're running book down here on their own. They don't have to pay shit. Wow. But they knew people. You know, Jerry Chili was close to them. And you know, he explained to me, he said, listen, if you get in with these people, you're gonna have to pay. You know, you have to kick up what you earn. And if what do you want? You want to be a member? You want to be part of a group of something, or do you want to be on your own and do your own thing and answer to nobody? And that's what he, you know, told me when I was a kid. I was like, fuck, I don't want to answer. First, I don't want to answer anybody. If I did, I'd get a 9 to 5, right?
Right.
Second of all, if I'm going to do something illegal, why would I want to give it to someone else?
Right.
Unless you're going to split the time with me when I get fucking 50 years or 20, you're going to do half of it, then I'll give you some money. But besides, you know, if you ain't doing any of my time, you ain't getting any of my fucking money either. Bottom line, and you know, just makes sense to me. Now, look, there's guys that I know there's good reasons for some people to want to become a member of a group or organization. It could start from childhood. Maybe they have no parent, you know, no father, left on the streets, and they need to belong to something. That makes sense, okay? But if you got your mother and your father and everything's intact, and you know, I don't see the reason to want to, you know, be a part of a criminal organization where I will have to be told what to do, when to do it, pay money to them, and then if I want to get promoted, I have to whack someone with no questions asked. No questions asked. I'm going to whack someone. No one's going to know about it.
Right.
I ain't going to take orders from this guy.
Right.
Who you whacking? You have no fucking clue who you're whacking. For what reason?
Yeah.
Could be over greed.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Like some fucking pricks that we know do, you know?
No, absolutely, 100%. And there are times where there's a famous story about a girl, Mary Barry, who they thought was a mafia informant. And it was a girlfriend of a guy that was on the lam. And they had to kill her. And that was like a big deal that they killed a woman. But they had no choice. They were told to do it, and they did it, you know? But anyway, when you think of the mafia, you think of New York, you think of Chicago, you maybe think of Detroit. You never think of Florida. You never think of Miami, you know?
Right.
How powerful were the Italians when you were coming up as opposed to the Cubans? Because everybody relates organized crime in Miami with Cuba.
Well, they were completely separate. Miami, the mob down here was mostly, let's say, Broward County was the big spot. Okay, so you got Broward, and then you got Dade. You got the county line. Then you got Dade County is where Miami starts. That area, North Miami Beach. Then you got downtown Kendall, South Beach area. You know, the mob wasn't really into that until later on, down the road. I guess with Chris Pacello, he got in. He was that model-looking dude that was banging all the celebrities, and then
yes, years ago.
He shot that fucking lady. What a fucking jerk off! He shoots the lady in the face for nothing. This kid had it made.
Yeah,
he wasn't anybody.
He was banging Madonna, right?
Yeah, exactly. This guy had it made. He had the Colombos backing him up. He's in fucking this gigantic club in Miami Beach, and some guy tells him, "Oh, we're going to go rob this lady for inside her house," and they go inside someone's house, and the dude that's robbing the lady ends up shooting her in the fucking face and kills her.
Wow.
And this fucking idiot goes with him. See, that's the type of stupidity that it's just stupid. Why would you do that? It's got nothing to do with you. You're making a shitload of money. You're banging all these fucking broads, and now he's got to go to fucking prison and turn stool pigeon.
Right.
So, yeah, but as far as the mob and the Cubans go, there was never any beef between the mob and the Cubans, and you wouldn't really see much interaction. However, when it comes to the Colombians, the Colombians are a different story.
Okay.
A whole different story, because they're in Colombia. They're supplying all the dope down here to Miami. Once it gets here, mostly the Cubans are the ones moving it, because like you said, mostly Cubans. There's a few Colombians, but it's mostly Cubans down here moving all the weight.
Right.
You know, Magruder and Willie Falcone, both Cubans. Yeah. But there are the odd Colombian that sells a lot of shit too. But yeah, definitely mostly the Cubans. Cubans. But when it comes to the mob and the cartel, mob can't touch them. Can't touch him. Impossible.
Yeah, I figured that. Okay.
Impossible.
Now, your dad brought you into life, and you basically were kind of in and out of jail the majority of your life, right? I mean, how old were you the first time you went?
First time I went, I was 16. But then they let me out. You know, I was on bond for a couple of years, but they charged me as an adult right away. 16, first offense. It was a stupid charge. I should have been out in 7 days.
Right.
Completely free. But they dragged it on for a couple of years until I was 18. I went to trial, and I went to trial and I lost. Took it to trial and lost. So then I went fucking back to prison. They gave me 4 years on that charge, of which I did about a little under 2 years. I'm under 2 years on that one. Then I got out, and I was clean. I had I was supposed to be on house arrest. They knocked it down to probation. Got off of that, and after a while, I wasn't clean for very long. I'll tell you that. And I just got back into it was my brother's fucking bright idea. Says, you know, call your friends out of Miami. I'll sell it. You just get it, because I knew the people. I'm like, nah. He goes, come on, I'll fucking just. So I said, all right. So he's out dealing. Not heavy stuff, nothing big, ounces, quarter keys, half keys, nothing huge. And he tells me, I don't even think this story's in the book. He tells me he's got a friend of his named Butch, really, really close friend. Butch, he's known for his whole life. He goes, Butch has a guy from New York that's coming down that wants a quarter key. I'm like, yeah. He goes, we're gonna meet him at Bennigan's. I go, don't do that. Don't. I knew what parking lots were. Cops love parking lots. They hide in the fucking parking lot. There's a fucking 500 cars. You're never gonna see them. Right. They're undercover. You're not gonna see them in their fucking van. I said, listen. First of all, whoever this guy is, if he brings someone with him, leave, walk out, just make an excuse, leave. So he goes, all right. I said, I'm going to call you exactly at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Answer the fucking phone. 3 o'clock comes around. Beepers back then. I beep, nothing. I'm like, oh shit. Cleaned out the house. And long story short, I called Hallandale Police Station and said, hey, my brother got into a fight on the beach, and he got arrested. So I'd like to know what his bond is. And they go, yeah, he didn't get into a fight, but we do have him. And I was, really, what for? And the lady told me, drugs.
Oh.
That was the second time they told me. Later on, towards the end of the book, I called, who was it? Hallandale? It was Hallandale. Second time, Hallandale with my dad. When he got arrested, called them saying, they go, yeah, we got him. Oh, no, Hallandale said we didn't have him. It was the feds that had my dad. So, but still, if something happens and you want to call the cops, someone gets arrested, you just change the story and say, my buddy got arrested for fighting. And they go, oh, no, it's not fighting, it's this. So I knew, shit, he got caught, cleaned the fucking house out because we had some stuff, not much. And about 40 minutes later, they come screeching to the fucking front yard, and I'm outside on the lounge chair in the front yard with the door open because I don't want them kicking the fucking door in with the dogs and all that shit and get shot while you're on the couch. So that was, then we owed for the quarter key.
Okay.
So then I was like, oh shit. I called and said, lost the quarter key. They go, all right, what do you want to do? I said, give me a key. There it was, back in action.
Yeah, that was it.
Back in action.
Besides drugs, were there any other rackets that you were involved in?
We did every fucking thing. There was basically anything. I didn't like gambling. Wasn't my thing. Gambling and loan sharking. I couldn't. Those two were like hand in hand. When you gamble, you're loan sharking anyway because the cocksuckers ain't gonna pay you, and then you're running around chasing them around town, breaking their, trying to break fingers and shit to get paid.
Right.
I wasn't with that shit. I didn't mind doing the scams. Scams were nice. Fake traveler's checks. Remember the fake traveler's checks back in the days? You actually get real ones, not fake ones, real ones.
Right.
And there's a whole scam behind that. Someone gets on an airplane, and while they're flying to New York, all those traveler's checks, you get 10, 20 grand worth of traveler's checks, you're spending them. Bang, bang. When the person lands, goes to his hotel room, he calls them in stolen. In the meantime, they're already used. And American Express reimburses you all of it. That was one of them. And you got the credit cards. We did that forever. Stolen car. You take a car for insurance, for example. A brand new car. Let's say a Camry. If you took the front seat and the back seat out, and it was an insurance claim, got stolen, and they find the car. Can't total the car. They got to find the car. and the insurance has to put the front seat and the back seat in. You know, the fucking front seat's about $8,000. Between the front and the back seat, it's almost a brand new car. For them to replace it, you know, they're going to charge you almost half the price of the car. However, the car's not totaled. So the insurance company goes, all right, what's going to cost more? Replace the seats or total the car? So they'll write you the check for, you know, $8,000-9,000 for leather seats. Back then, they wrote the check right to you. You go, you cash the check, you put the seats back in because you had them in a warehouse down the street.
That's fantastic.
And you're doing this with you just rotating, right? You're doing this like it's going out of style.
Right.
We used to be able to get cars off the lot. You can't do it now, where they would new title, new tag, new everything. You'd get a $50,000 car for $5,000.
Mm.
They'd steal it.
I remember that. That was big in New York too.
Lottery tickets, all types of stolen shit. And what else did we do? I don't know. I'll think of something as we're going along. But we had all kinds of shit. Something would, you know, they'd call and say, "Hey, we got this. Always into trying to figure something out.
Yeah, right. My question about your dad was, out of all the years you were in jail, how many years total did you serve?
Let's see, was it 2 close to 2? Well, what, sentenced or actually in prison? Because on 10 you do 7.5. On the 4 I did 2, so that's 7, 8, 9.5 actually in prison. Actually sentenced wise, they sentenced me to 10, 4, and then they ran, when I was in on the 10, they ran my state charge concurrent coterminous. In other words, they ran it together. So I had 7 years in the state too. At the same time I was doing my feds, but the state ran out before the feds. So then I kept doing my fed time. So
you're looking at total was about maybe 10 to 12 years?
In time in prison? Yeah, about that.
Okay. And then all that time on the run?
All the time on the run.
And did your dad ever regret bringing you into the life?
I don't think he, you know, because at one time he said, look, you know, when he found out I was fucking around with the drugs, because he didn't know for a while, and I was doing my own thing, and then actually a neighbor of mine went down and went to Joe Sonkins. It was a bar, you know, Joe Sonkins, famous mob hangout. And a neighbor of mine who was older guy, was 35 years old, he got real close, and he went and told on me. He went and told my dad while he was sitting at the bar and goes, hey, listen, your son's a good kid. You know, I dropped out of school. He goes, you know, he's selling fucking coke. And my dad called me up and said, you selling that fucking shit? I was like, no. He goes, well, your friend, you know, so we didn't say who. He goes, well, I got word that you are.
Right.
I was like, but he knew. He goes, don't fuck with that stuff. But what do you know, once you're 18, 19, what the fuck's he going to do?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know, he's not living in the house with me. It's not like we're living together and he could slap the shit out of me or say, get the fuck out.
Right.
He couldn't do that. You know, he really couldn't do much.
The one thing you had on your side when you did all that prison time was you were really good with your hands. You were a trained fighter since you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
You were really into martial arts.
Yeah. When I was I got serious when I was about 9, 10 years old. Yeah.
And the one story that I'm not gonna stay on the book because I don't want to talk about the whole book and then people don't read it, right? The one story I'd like you to tell is that you were into prison. You actually helped somebody. You helped somebody that in prison that you didn't know well, but he had gotten raped.
Oh, right.
And then you instructed him what to do the next day.
Right.
Can you tell that story?
Well, I had to change it a little bit because it was worse than what I put down.
Worse than what you wrote in the book?
Yeah, it was a lot worse. My wife says, you're going to get people sick to their fucking stomach as well. She goes, just tone it down a little bit. So what happened was, I'll give you, because, you know, if you write the detail by detail, the fucking book takes forever. Anyway, I was in the holding cell waiting to get shipped off to South Florida Reception Center. This black dude had come up to me and it was like, hey man, what's going on? You know, I was young. I was 18. It was me and this other kid. We were the youngest ones in there. And he was talking to me and I was like, no, it's just Just to go to someone else. Just leave me the fuck alone. So then he goes over to this blonde-headed kid. And this kid was Peter, blonde hair, blue-eyed, looked like a surfer dude, straight hair, you know, almost looked kind of girly looking in the face. He was so fucking young.
Right.
So this black dude start talking to him. You could tell Peter's nervous as shit. And after the guy starts talking to him, he's like, he kind of relaxing and listening. He goes, just, you know, how many times you've been up the road? He goes, my first time. He goes, all right, listen, you stick with me. And he goes, I've been up the road, I don't know how many times. I know a lot of people there. Whatever you want, I can get it for you. I get you more food. We'll work out together. He's really selling this fucking kid. He goes, when you get out, you'll be jacked up. You'll have all the bitches and da-da-da. So I'm just listening to what he's saying. And then Peter gets up and goes somewhere. There's some separation. I don't know what the fuck happened exactly. But as I hear the black guy, he's over next to me and he's talking to his friends. Now, I think I might have left this part out of the book because this was the nasty part. I hear this guy tell these other people, he goes, man, I'm going to fuck that pink little pussy tonight. And I'm going,
oh, shit.
Oh, fuck. What this? He just goes on and on and on how he's going to get up inside this fucking kid's shit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So then Peter comes back and they're black, shucking and jiving and shooting shit. And one side of me said, go tell Peter, stay the fuck out of there. And the other side said, mind your own fucking business.
Right.
Mind my own fucking business.
Yeah.
So it was time for a cell assignment where they're signing cells. And they're calling out, all right, Caucci, you're in this one. So-and-so, you're in this one. So-and-so, you're in this one. Some guys got single cells. Other people were doubled up. It just depends. There wasn't that many people there. Well, I got a single cell. Peter got sent by himself over somewhere. And the black dude was by himself too. And the black dude had went. And Peter said, hey, you want to stay with me? And he goes, I can. I'm over here. He goes, well, if I can get you in my room, do you want to? Well, we'll play cards. Well, they used to play spades. They used to play spades all fucking night long. And I'm watching this. I'm, oh, Jesus. So he goes, yeah, if you can. So the black dude goes to the deputy. It's like these guys they're not cops. They're fucking hacks. They're Broward County cop people, jail guards.
Right.
He goes, talks to them. They must know each other from the fucking street. Goes, hey, blah, 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 blah. He goes, yeah, sure. Changes his fucking room like that, and he goes up in there. So now those two are in the room right next to mine, and you got the air vent. If you're ever in the hole or in the joint, if you've got a connecting room, you can hear each other through the air vent. You can actually talk to someone the other end of the cell block through the air vent. The air ducts go all the way through. So as the night goes on, I hear these two yapping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it gets to the point to where he tells them, hey, jump on down here. Let me talk to you. So now I'm starting to my heart's racing right now. I'm going goddamn story. So he ends up telling them, basically suck my dick.
Oh, yeah.
And Peter's like, what? No, man, are you serious? Are you serious? Because you hear what I fucking said. And then he changes it up and he says, no, I was just joking. And now I'm like, oh, thank God. I was fucking joking too. Then he goes around, he goes, I'm going to fuck you instead. So we get a long story. This thing gets really nasty and he ends up fucking beating him. And so he ends up fucking this kid for hours.
Oh, God.
The next morning he comes out and we're at it's like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning, chow time. And here he comes out hobbling. You can see he's all been banged up, right? He sits down at my table and he gives me a note and tells me to send it off for him. I'm like, what for? He goes, just do me a favor and send this, make sure so-and-so gets this. I know what's going on and he's going to kill himself.
Right.
I could tell this guy's going to kill himself. So we have a little conversation and I said, Peter, listen, you can do what you're going to do, or you can get this motherfucker back somehow. So anyway, make a long story short, Peter ends up getting a shank. This guy has a shank under his own fucking pillow. His bunkie, the dude that was raping him all night, had a shank. Peter gets a hold of it. So I said, Peter, this ain't going to be easy, but this is what you need to do. You need to go open your room and call him in and just pretend. Just pretend, you know, it is what it is. Pretend. Get this motherfucker's pants down to his ankles. Get him off balance, off guard. He ain't thinking what you're going to do. And jam that fucking thing between his fucking legs and give it everything you got.
Wow.
And man, I'd never, now you're talking, we're downstairs and there's quite some distance. He's on the second tier through metal doors. And this motherfucker yells out, he screams like, and everyone can hear it. Fucking, he got the son of a bitch really good.
Wow.
And yeah, Peter got him.
Holy shit.
I told Peter, I said, listen, once they find out what happened last night, once they find out and they check your asshole that you've been raped all night, you're going to probably go home. You're not even going to go to prison.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you got a lawsuit on him. Fucking, you know, you locked. First of all, he wasn't supposed to be in the room.
Oh, right.
I mean, he had them hands down. I mean, you're gonna rape them, they're gonna drop the fight, make millions of dollars, and he got raped all night. And there's no alarm button, you know. I mean, fuck, you're not. Plus, he's 18. This guy was up the road, must have been fucking 35, 40 years old. This guy wasn't small either. This was a big motherfucker.
Wow.
You know, he was no one to play with, right? And I said, once you just tell them what happened, they're gonna check your asshole, and you're good. Hopefully, he didn't have AIDS, because back then that shit was running rampant.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was Peter's story, and he fucked that dude up nice.
And there's some other crazy stories in the book too, but I don't want to dwell on the book. I'm just going to say, you know, read it because it's fucking really good. And you can get this book on Amazon, and fantastic read.
You know, you want to hear something on the book?
Sure.
You know, that book I self-published. You know, usually you go through. I didn't have the fucking time. I'm just not one of those people that goes and I do something, that's it, I want it done.
Right.
So I self-published. It's at the top 1%. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. For self-published, they said it's unheard of, because the guy that did the editing, he checks all the numbers, goes, this is unheard of.
Yeah.
So now I got to do number 2.
That's right. That's right. I was getting to the end, and I'm like, there's no way it's over. And
no. Japan is you can't imagine that it could get any better. It goes to Japan, then I get caught, then I'm in the feds. What happens in the feds with the guys that I was working with? That blow your fucking mind.
That's amazing. Well, the book is called Mafia Made, and get it on Amazon. Great read. All right. So one of the things that you got going on now is you have a really successful YouTube channel podcast. And I mean, what's the name of it? It's called Mafia Made, right?
Mafia Made, yeah.
Yeah, it's Mafia Made on YouTube. And it really is. And all it is you telling stories. You're a great storyteller, obviously, because you got me intrigued 100% since we sat here. But you have some kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, a beef or something going on with Sammy the Bull. And what's that all about?
Well, it's not really a beef. I could give a fuck about Sammy the Bull, to be honest. But it's the rat issue. Now, cooperation's cooperation. I want to fucking rat. Be a rat. But don't lie about being a rat.
Mm-hmm.
See, these guys, they rat, and then they turn around and there's always an excuse. Oh, well, I ratted because John Gotti wanted me to take the fall. There's no fucking evidence of that anywhere in the fucking world except for what comes out of Sammy Bull's mouth. So whatever Sammy Bull says somehow is gospel now. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. If he says it, it must be true.
Right.
Why? There's no one to refute what he says. Now you got Michael fucking Franzese, but leave him alone, because you know he's still full of shit. But Sammy the Bull's just a flat out fucking liar.
Mm-hmm.
Lie, and fucking everyone gobbles it up. They gobbled it up. You know, if you're in the mob, there's nowhere in the rule book that says you're allowed to cooperate if someone's going to testify against you. Well, they're fucking everyone. That's what they do. They get caught. They get snitched. You get snitched on, and you do your fucking time. And so the fucking ball rolls. That, you know, Gotti took it to trial. I'm no fan of fucking John Gotti. I'm not on the Gambino side. No, I'm more on the Bonanno side, if anyone. But there's no rule in you know, when you take omerta, you know, prick your fucking finger, light the card, and do your fucking ceremony. It doesn't say, well, if you get snitched on, you're allowed to cooperate. No women, no children, no fucking cooperation, period. Mm-hmm. If you had a beef with Gotti, you straighten it out with Gotti yourself.
Right.
Not by taking down fucking 13 other people, fucking main guys. He snitched on over 30, right? I don't know how many bosses. The Chin, he testified against the Chin. And he was going to take down, what's his name? The one he tried to defend, Joe Watts, right? Fucking Joe Watts was ready to go to trial. Yeah. Fucking Sammy the Bull shows up. Joe Watts was going to trial. He was going to trial. Then fucking in the hallway, you got Sammy the Bull who testified against 30 other people. You still going to trial when you got the Bull fucking coming after you? No.
Right.
He took a deal. He took a deal. So that's what bothers me. If he was to come out and go, I snitched, and leave it at that, and then tell the truth on everything else, but he's just a fucking liar. But you know what? In this day and age, these kids, I don't know if you want to call them kids, millennials, I don't even know what they are anymore, but they don't give a shit. They don't care, but they love the mob, but they don't love what it stands for. It doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
They're all these mob groupies, but if you're a mob groupie and you're really into the mob, you should go by everything they go by, rules included, right? Now, you can like Sammy for his stories, but you won't believe how many people back him up,
right?
Thinking he's, tells the truth, and they tell me, oh, you wish you were Sammy. Never in a fucking million years would I wish I was Sammy the Bull. Right. Never.
And you have a particular nickname that you give Sammy the Bull followers.
Blowjobs.
So now you offered him some kind of I don't know what you want to call it, a meeting, if you will.
Yeah. What was the fucking due date? September 25th? Well, yeah. Guess what? That fucking ain't gonna happen. We know that. There's a couple things that happened, and I had a visit. Well, I'll have to get into that later. But I had a visit from some authorities, and there's some sort of riot act in the United States, right? In the government. So they weren't threatening, but they mentioned, I don't know if someone dropped a dime on me, if it was him. Honestly, I doubt it was Sammy the Bull. It could have been one of his blowjobs.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, this guy's going to go here and fucking in Central Park, they're going to do this and this. So, once I originally said it was on the 25th, I said, you know what? I better get back on YouTube real quick and say, hey, this isn't a fight or, I'm a threat, because don't need that. I don't want that. We don't need more shit in the United States. Trust me.
That's for
Bunch
sure.
of fucking jerk offs showing up at Central Park. Could you imagine?
Right. Yeah.
Fucking sticks in their hands. Oh man. And me getting locked up for something stupid.
Did he ever reach out to you? Did he ever answer you back?
No, never
No,
did.
Not at all.
Not a word.
And what is the issue with Michael Franzese?
Nothing, but look, he's a rat. And here's a couple things I didn't like. First, you want to preach. Not wrong with that. You want to preach. That's what you do, preach. But then, and I heard he was pretty good, because this was way before this mafia shit came out on YouTube. I had some friends in the church, watch this guy, because they were trying to, straighten me out. I got out of prison. Hey, motherfucker, you're not lost yet. You can, this guy used to be in prison. And so I'm watching him, and he was pretty good. But he was up there he was doing this mob thing while he's teaching Christianity at the same time. All right, good. But then when the YouTube shit started going on, you noticed how things started changing. Now, if you're a Christian, you don't lie, supposedly, right? You're not supposed to lie. Don't lie. Don't say you're a boss. Well, I never said I'm a boss. And if you then correct the people who are saying you're a boss, lie number one. What else did he do? Fucking Franzese is just there was fuck, I can't remember that cocksucker. Anyway, we'll get back to Franzese later on. I'll think about it. But there was just a few things when you were a Christian. The flaunting, that was what really bothered me. That bothered me a lot. It was COVID. I think it was around COVID time, and somebody sent me because I don't watch these fuckers, but someone will send you something, say you have to see this.
Right.
So I go to watch, and here he is. I guess the intro is him driving a Mercedes or something. Like he's got a Mercedes, shows a boat or something. Now, listen.
Yeah, he's making a shit ton of money.
There's people who can't fucking eat, right? They can't eat, and you're going to show your boat and your car and you're a Christian. Now, if you want to play Mr. Gangster, like if Sammy the Bull was to do that, that's fine.
Right.
He's not playing He's not playing Christianity.
Right.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
He can come in there with a pile of $1 million and say, sit in his chair is made out of money. That's fine. That's Sammy the Bull. He ain't playing the Christian part. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing the Christian part, you don't do this. You don't flaunt. You don't lie. You humble yourself.
Right.
Right. So and now he's snow jobbing people. So he's a fucking snow job. So that's what I didn't like about him. Besides, he's full of shit. He really wasn't. If you look at him and you look at Sammy the Bull, you can tell Franzese wasn't supposed to be in the life. You could just tell. He's not the type of guy that you'd be scared of if you were in a dark alley with him.
Well, he wasn't. He was like in college, and then his father went to prison, and then he had to drop out and support his family. Some crazy thing like that.
Yeah. I mean, he was supposed to go to exactly. He was supposed to be a doctor or med school, right? Mm-hmm. So you could tell he wasn't. And now he's not stupid.
No,
not a stupid man. Not a stupid man. He knows how to make money.
That's for sure.
And he's making it now. Unfortunately, he's just making it the wrong way. But he went from Christianity to saying, oh, you're not supposed to. What's the word they use? You're not supposed to. It's not flaunt, but anyway, he's just pushing this mob thing when you should be either you're a Christian or you're a mobster, one or the other.
Yeah, well, I think the idea is that he's making money, so he's kind of
money.
Yeah,
the money guy.
Yeah, because now he has a huge YouTube channel, podcast, and he has big time people on. Mike Tyson and Alman Asante and all these celebrities are on the show. Lilo Brancato. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
And that blows my mind. That why would Mike Tyson's a street guy.
Yeah.
He's a street guy, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're paying, unless Tyson was getting paid for this.
Yeah. Who knows?
But why would Tyson want to sit next to a fucking stool pigeon? This guy's, and I can't say he didn't rat. You could just look at the papers. He ratted. He took down people.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the majority of them turn state's evidence. It's sad because they want to be. Well, I'm talking about the '90s guys with the guys, the generation where I grew up, and that's really when everything went to shit. When Rudy Giuliani was mayor and he was coming down on them real hard, and when he was the DA. I mean, these guys would get pinched, and then right away, let's make a deal, and that's basically what would happen. So here's an interesting question for you. Today, it's a lot more difficult to get away with things that you got away with in the 80s or 90s.
Yep.
It's extreme between DNA and surveillance everywhere, and the technology they have. It's really difficult. If you were to be on the street today, what direction would you take it in?
What were we talking about? Mob or killing somebody?
No. I'm talking about making a living, like scams and so on and so forth.
I tell you who's got it the best, to be honest with you, is the damn Nigerians. They're fucking robbing us, and they're sitting in fucking Africa.
Go ahead, explain.
They're on the computer. They're sitting, boom, taking money. The SBA loans recently, taking millions of dollars, and they're fucking on a sailboat in the middle of the goddamn Atlantic Ocean. You don't even know where the fuck it is. And the feds don't even have the time to even investigate. They could care less. We print more money. But as far as crime goes, just like you said, it is almost impossible. So here's what they're doing. Let's give marijuana, for example. Now, there's guys doing, if they're still alive, life sentences for weed. Life. They're going to die in prison over marijuana. And we're not talking this type of shit we have now. We're talking called bush bud. Regs, $20 a pound out of Mexico. Garbage weed, tumbleweed, that shit.
Right.
Okay? That was back when I was, selling. And that shit that you guys got now today, we used to call that crippy. It was all indoor shit. So you got guys doing life sentences for that stuff. Now what the government does is, if you notice, they slowly make things legal that used to be illegal. As the people in jail are starting to die off for their life sentences for marijuana, we're going to start making it legal. So, and not only is it legal, it's fucking 7, 14, 21, 20, it's 7-8 times stronger. 30% THC.
Yeah. Okay.
Before it was 7-8% THC. This shit they got now, I think 30%. I'd fucking knock your socks off.
Right.
And then you got some of the people in the government talking about how they smoked a joint on a podcast. But wait a minute, someone died in prison for the same fucking drug that you're bragging about, government motherfuckers. Then you got people in Mexico that got killed because our government pushed them to go after all these cartels. You know, this we're talking weed back in the day, 70s, 80s, late 70s. You know, drug wars in Mexico, people getting killed over marijuana.
Right.
But now we're sitting there saying, all right, come to Colorado.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Come to Colorado, even Washington, and whoever knows, whatever the fuck state, not Florida yet.
California, right?
California, and get all the weed you want, and no one's going to jail. See, the government likes to just, they like to just make, they make crimes. They make these fucking laws to throw people in prison. And when they're done with that, they say, all right, let's make it legal, and we're going to go to the next thing. So the drugs is eventually going to go away. Cocaine, it will, but not yet. Marijuana, they're going to start, you know, like they say, marijuana is the gateway drug. Well, it's the gateway to making shit legal too.
That's, yes.
Right. It's going to be the gateway to making things legal. They're going to start with that. They're going to slowly going to say, all right, cocaine, we're going to give you a gram. You can have a gram on you. And you have a gram, you can have 2. Fuck, you have 2, you can have 3, no more than an ounce. Alcohol kills a shitload of people. Well, they made that illegal at one time, but now it's okay, right?
Right.
So they do whatever the fuck they want. But as far as being a criminal right now, what could you do? I mean, what is there? It's all, if you're not a computer fucking whiz, either you're a fucking low-life stick-up man and you're going to rob a store and you ain't getting away with it. Right. It's almost impossible to get away with it.
Really difficult.
Unless you're in these states that they're saying, all right, defund the police, and if you get caught, I heard on the news, you could walk into Walgreens or somewhere, grab anything off the shelf, as long as it's under $1,000, you're okay. They're just going to be a misdemeanor.
Oh, I see. So
it depends. Every state's different. Every state's different. But as far as organized crime, if I was the boss of one of these families, if any of them had any brains, they would all go legit and publicize, just like Sam and the Bulls doing a YouTube channel. If they had half a fucking brain, but they're these old timers and they're sitting up there, 80s, and they're still thinking, all right, well, code of silence. They're not allowed to order hits anymore.
That's right.
You can't order a hit on anybody. You need the fucking permission of all 5 families.
Yeah, it's no kill rule. And then they bring somebody else to do it. Yeah.
If they're smart, if they bring someone in from another country.
Yeah, the last up in the Bronx was a couple of years ago. It was 2 black kids, but it was a mafia hit. They had hired 2 black kids.
Now, how smart is that?
Yeah,
that's got to be about as dumb as it comes.
Yeah,
dumb as it can. First. Okay, well, we won't go down that road, but you might as well do it yourself, because when they get caught, they're going to tell. Right? Listen, we got 1,000 people a day crossing our border. You know how easy it is to get a Mexican over here, and these guys are brutal. Or Colombian. Yeah, you get them, fly them in, boom, boom, boom. Here's the guy, pop, boom, back you go. They never know. Finished.
Right.
Fucking finished. And over there, you've got insurance. If you get a Colombian to come over here and pop someone and go back to Colombia and he gets caught, he's not telling, because his whole family's over there. He's going to keep his fucking mouth shut.
I wonder if they do that. God knows.
I know they do that. Oh, the mob? Sure. No, the mob doesn't do that.
No, but
they don't do it.
Cubans do it.
Yeah. If you're smart, look, the Russians came down here. You know, the mob, whatever country you're in, you think you're tough. At one time, you know, mob was tough. But when you can get someone that comes from another country and walk up to you and say, listen, this is what's going to happen, because they don't give a fuck. They could get 20, 30 guys from Russia come over here and start pop, 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 and send them home. Right. What are you going to do? What's your retaliation? You don't have any.
Right.
You got none. You better watch out, because these Russians come over, and the Russian mob, they took over South Miami.
Yeah, it's that way in Brooklyn now too.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And now what? You're not going to order hits, because you're going to get a life fucking sentence. And if you order someone to do it, you're going to get, they're going to tell on you. Someone from Russia, they come over here, plop, 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 and back they go.
Right.
You better be scared. They did it in Japan. The Chinese walked into the Yakuza office, put a fucking gun to one of the guys' head and said, we're here, we're taking Shinjuku. What are you going to do? They're like, oh, fuck.
Right.
They made a deal. The Chinese, they don't fuck around. You're talking people that poor people. And they get over here on a boat somehow and Japan, and they are tough. The Chinese don't fuck around. When they're gangs, they're triads, they do not fuck around. And you go into Japan, They're not taking over, obviously, but they're smart enough to know where we want this city. And the Chinese did it.
Yeah, it's yeah, it is not like it was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I'm 45 years old. When I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, when I lived in New York, when I lived in Brooklyn, and then I lived in Staten Island, they were everywhere. Mafia was everywhere,
Right.
You know.
Right.
So in New York now and in Jersey, there's a very, very small element of the mob. Like you said, everybody knows about the no-kill rule. There's a very, it's just very, very, very diluted, very small. What is it? What is it like in Florida and Miami now?
Nothing's going on. I mean, there's everyone there. There's guys. We sit, we talk. You know, they're talking about opening up this, all legit, right? Yeah. Back to my point was, if these guys got together, let's say Bananos, they opened up a YouTube channel. They got guys that went in prison and already came out of prison. Telling stories that, listen, whoever they're going to tell stories about, not going to get in trouble, or they already died, or they've snitched on that person they're talking about is a rat. And these guys start doing what everyone else is doing. You think people would really listen to Sammy the Bull and Michael Franzese? Hell no. They'd rather listen to real mobsters.
Right.
Then you open up a damn pizza chain. Except fuck Domino's and Pizza Hut. You got Bananos.
Yeah.
You got a bar, disco. You know, and you start using your name to make money, because that's the only thing that's left is your name. And when the next boss dies, what are the next members going to be? What is there to get? How do you recruit new people?
There's no breeding ground anymore.
And what do you do? How are you going to get straightened out? You know, before it was a big deal to get straightened out. You had to pop someone.
Yeah.
How do you get straightened out? How do you get straightened out now?
Yeah.
Well, you ain't going to clip anybody.
Yeah. And Italian kids don't grow up rough anymore. They don't grow up.
No, they don't.
They don't grow up rough anymore.
It's a computer thing. Well, what can you do? Well, watch this. I can encrypt the keyboard. Okay, we're going to straighten this guy out. He can encrypt the fucking keyboard.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same. But if the government was smart, our government was smart, they would loosen up these rules on the mob and let them do some shit to get rid of some of these other motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's kind of there's a famous story that they used to do that years ago with the there's a famous story of Mississippi burning with the KKK. There was the 3 college kids that were killed, and they couldn't find them, and nobody in the KKK was ratting. And the FBI recruited Greg Scarpa from Brooklyn, and he basically just tortured members of the KKK until they spoke, and he was the one that actually found the bodies.
See?
Yeah.
There you go. It's like like one of those secret. They got those fucking secret contractors over there in the Middle East, you know, inside the U.S. Just let other people do it. If the government has boundaries and parameters, they can't do this. Fucking let a gangster do it. He'll figure it out for you. Just leave him alone.
And supposedly he had carte blanche after that. And they used to refer to him as the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Because he had like over 100 kills, and apparently he didn't give a shit. He would just walk in, and I don't know if it was because of who he was or because he knew he was going to get away with it because he did the FBI a favor. You know, who knows? Or a combination of both. But yeah, it's a really famous story. You know, the FBI agent said that he didn't go into detail, but that he did unspeakable things to members of the KKK to get that information. So God knows what he did. You know, because those guys back then, those guys, you know, that grew up in New York City in the 1940s and 50s and 60s, it was just they just were a different breed. You know, everything was violence. Everything. If you weren't violent, you didn't earn a name. You know,
right?
You know, that's just and he actually died of AIDS from a blood transfusion. Yeah, the story goes that he was very sick. He had a stomach problem, and he had to have a blood transfusion, and he was rushed to the emergency room, and he didn't want to take anybody's blood he didn't know. So he had all his crew members and other guys from other crews get blood tested to see if there was a match. And one of the guys was a match, and he gets that blood transfusion, and it turned out that guy was HIV positive, but he didn't know. And this is back in the, I think, the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
What happened was the guy was like really into bodybuilding, and they shared a needle with steroids. And apparently that's the story of how he got it. Now, I don't believe he got it from, sharing a needle from steroids, because I've been in bodybuilding my whole life. Nobody shares needles. No.
Not for steroids.
No.
Not
So
for steroids.
either he was gay or he was bi, or God knows what. And that was the story, But that's how he died. He fucking died of AIDS. Yeah. That's an unbelievable story. Yeah. Listen, Anthony, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate you doing this. This was a tremendous. I knew this was going to be a good interview. Like, I watched your podcast and I read your book, and I've been begging you to come on since I read your book, and I'm like, oh, I got to get this fucking guy on. I really appreciate it, man. Really.
All right, brother. You got it.
And we got to keep in touch, and I'll let you know when everything is out.
Okay.
And also, what I'm going to do is, before the video starts, I'm going to put a short 10-second commercial of me, talking about your book and saying go buy the book and so on and so forth. So every time somebody watches it, they'll see it. And that's it. And thank you again. And we'll definitely keep in touch. Have a good night.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, later.
All right.